According to SciPost, narcissistic grandiosity predicts greater involvement in LGBTQ activism. And before we go completely off the rails in the comments section about how I'm doing this to hate LGBTQ people, that's not true. It's overall a very progressive channel, and we do like to study science and technology here, but this isn't the first time it's come up. You may remember this past February, I covered an article about dark personality traits showing up disproportionately high amongst environmental activists. Now, what's interesting is there's a difference between the traits that predict people's involvement in these movements. For environmental activism, it was primarily Machiavellianism or control that motivated people to want to be involved in this movement. However, for the LGBT movement, narcissism is a greater predictor than almost anything else, but the devil is always in the details, so let's talk about what's going on here. This was in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, and they found that narcissistic grandiosity, which is having a big idea of yourself, thinking you're the main character, you're the most important person in the world, is associated with a higher participation in LGBTQ movements, demonstrating that motivations for activism can range wildly from genuine altruism to personal image building. So they did two different studies. One studied narcissistic traits and LGBT activism in general. They found that among the traits of narcissism that predicted involvement in this movement, that virtue signaling was a key factor. People with high narcissistic tendencies may be drawn to activism as an opportunity to publicly showcase their moral superiority, because narcissists don't believe they're superior in some ways, but also morally, ethically, spiritually, whatever. So it plays very, very well into this. And then they just studied, instead of just traditional LGBTQ, but broader gender identity activism. And they found a fairly similar thing going on, that narcissistic grandiosity was related to greater involvement with these movements as well. There wasn't a whole lot of relationship between psychopathy and what was going on. The main takeaway is that the scientists wanted people to take a moment before making a judgment on whether they support or reject a specific type of pro-social activism, because some manifestations of activism may have less to do with the cause itself and more to do with the personalities of certain actors who have come to the forefront. People that are narcissistic like things. They like money, prestige, attention, satisfaction, exploitation, control. They love all of the outrageous amount of attention and TV time and interviews and organizational control you have over some of these organizations. And this is not to say that activism is bad. I would say I'm an activist myself. I promote a lot of these causes. Activism can be quite good, but not everybody in the movement is going to be there for the right reasons.